ask yourself how bad you really want it. Because a lot
Mm.
of it is
Ooh, I can
mental
talk about
blocks.
this all day, girl.
Cutie the bomb, met her at a beauty salon with a baby Louis Vuitton under her underarm.
This week we are talking about avoiding burnout in content creation. And we're
Yes,
giving guests.
hi.
Troyia, how
I'm
are
doing
you?
good. I'm doing good. Can't complain.
Yes.
Excited for all the things I have coming down the pipeline and excited to pour into your audience tonight and all the things. So I'm excited to be here.
Listen, we are talking about avoiding burnout in content creation. If this is your first week on the live, I always start off with my creators. Make sure my creators and influencers get the tea they need, and then we'll transition over to business owners. What do you think is the reason people get so
I
burnt
think
out on
it's
social media? I don't know
it's
if it's
it's
the
it's a
what
couple
is it?
things. I think the first thing is people set
Mm-hmm.
unrealistic goals for themselves, and when those goals don't get met,
Oh
it's like
yes.
they're not even really experiencing burnout, to be honest, sometimes, because half the time most of them aren't even doing the work to even experience burnout. It's really just the fact that most people set really unrealistic goals for themselves. So when they don't go through and see it, it feels like they've been doing work, but in reality, they really haven't, because it's like the goals that you set in the first place was extremely
Mm.
difficult for you to go through and obtain anyway. So that's like one of the main reasons that I've noticed a lot of people burn out on social media, quote unquote burn out on social media, is going through and setting those unrealistic goals. Another thing too is proper planning. Even today I caught myself like not even
Yes.
properly planning. I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do a content day today, and then did my hair and did my makeup, and I'm like, girl, what are you even filming? Right? Like, even I have those days sometimes, right? So you really got to make sure that you actually set a plan in place, so that way you're able to even have the plan even come or execute essentially in the first place.
Yes, that's so good. I think the unrealistic expectations is so real. And I think alongside of that, people set these unrealistic expectations because they are taking feedback from what they see, right? So, for example, if let's say somebody is just getting introduced to my audience, let's take my TikTok, for example. I'm a TikTok girl. I be over there talking crazy. Let's say my TikTok, for example, if somebody found me today, they're like, dang, she blew up overnight. She's done this, she's done that. When in reality,
Mm-hmm.
I've been posting on TikTok for years, right? It looks overnight, but again, people see what they
Right.
assume is overnight success or quick success. And then they think, okay, if she's doing it, I can do it. But again, they're
Yeah.
not seeing the back end on that. They're not seeing the editing. They're not seeing I just posted a video, and after I recorded it, the whole video was
Mm-hmm.
this much out of focus. I said, you know what? I'm not in the mood today. I'm gonna post it anyway because sometimes you literally
Yeah,
just
literally.
have to
You
put the content out.
literally just got to put the content out. That's my mindset all 2024. Like, I'm pretty sure so many people watching
Literally.
this have. I was literally on the phone with a client the other day. She was like, "Oh my goodness, I have so much content from last year that I never put out." We put a whole entire plan together, girl. We said dish out that content that you never put out. We're gonna repurpose it, and we're gonna keep it moving so that way you are able to grow from that content. No content left behind in 2024. That is
Here.
literally my motto. No
Oh, I
content
like
left
that.
behind.
No
None.
content
None.
left behind is a word. That is a word. I think that leads me into the first tip too. To avoid content, to avoid burnout, specifically for my
Mm-hmm.
creators, repurpose. Everything doesn't have to be brand spanking new. Everything doesn't have to be a new, fresh idea. If it worked one time, it's gonna work the second time and the third time and the fourth time, right? And repurpose, I think people get lost in that because people think
Mm-hmm.
repurpose is
Yep.
reposting. Repurposing isn't always reposting.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just taking
Yeah.
what works and
Yeah.
recreating it.
I think that's the thing too, that a lot, like you said, a lot of people get misconstrued because they think, okay, if I take this one piece of content, not only am I repurposing it and posting it on several different platforms to kind of create that like omni-channel presence, I think that people have to find a different way to approach content creation from like a different lens. So, for example, I made a reel like a while ago, and I was packing for a trip, and I was packing for a trip in the video,
Mm-hmm.
but the text on top of the video had nothing to do with me packing. I think I was talking about like how to reset,
I
like your
live.
how to reset for the week or something like that, right? So I think that a lot of people think that their content and the story that they're trying to go through and tell all has to match, and that's really not even the case. If you really pay attention to it, sometimes when you're just going through and
Yes.
you're just creating something, or you just plop up your camera on the tripod and just record, you can literally tell a completely different story in your text or in your audio as a voiceover, or even in your caption, that's completely different than whatever it is that you're doing in the video. So I
Listen, I
love B-roll.
live for B-roll, and that was actually going to be one of my tips, and I'm glad you brought that up because a lot of people, I was talking to one
Mm-hmm.
of my social media management clients. She was saying, I just don't have time to create. I don't have time to create. My hair's not done, my this, my that. I said, go down my page and see how many videos is the back of my shoulder. It's me on my computer, right? It's not always, we get so burnt out because we think content day,
Mm-hmm.
we think hair, we think makeup, we think our
Yeah.
nails, if not done, they need to be like together, right? When in reality, content day is sometimes you pouring your wine in your wine glass
Yep.
because you about to go sit on your couch, but you know
Mm-hmm.
one day that video is gonna come in handy, right? It's me. I'm good for the back of my head on the video, typing on my
Yeah.
computer. They like, oh, she working. I'm
Yeah.
like, I look crazy from
Talk
the
about
front, but you really have to. You got to make
right.
it do
Yeah, yeah.
what it
That's
do.
actually like one of my favorite forms of content to post, is just me doing stuff I'm already doing. Like, if you really sit and think
Yes.
about it, a lot of us are like really making this whole content thing a lot harder than what it has to be honest, right? Like, literally put up your tripod,
Yes.
doing the same thing you already doing. Like, if you are watching the couch right on the couch right now, watching this
Yep.
live, put up a tripod right now. Film yourself literally sitting on the couch. You
Easy.
might be flipping through some channels. You might be on your computer getting some work done. Like, literally film yourself doing the things that you are already doing. I love doing that when I'm driving. I do it while I'm sitting at the desk. I'll do it while I'm on
Yeah.
coaching calls. I'll do it while I'm cleaning up sometimes. And that's such an easy form of content for you to go through and create, because it's like a no-brainer. You're already doing it. And just another tip too to avoid
It's easy.
burnout is literally just film content and not worry about what you're going to use it for. Like, I am so good for that. I am good for just
I knew I liked
like,
you. That is a
literally, that's like my secret
word.
sauce. Is I don't know what I'm going to use that piece of content for until it's time to use it. So now I have a
Yes.
whole bank in my phone of content that I can just go through and use and pick and choose from whenever it's time for me to post something, and I don't have to go back and create an entirely new production. It doesn't have to be a production. Just go through and just create stuff and figure out what you're going to use it for
That's
later.
so good. So good. I saw somebody ask
Mm-hmm.
in the comments, what is B-roll? B-roll, the actual term comes from like the film industry, like the movie industry. But for the sake of social media and for the sake of coaching, but not getting too coachy on this live,
Yeah.
think of B-roll as like behind the scenes content is what I call it, right? So again, like she said, set up your camera doing anything. If I'm working on my computer, I set up my camera. If I'm drinking wine, I'll set up my camera and record it. If I'm cleaning up, I set up my camera, speed it up. But again, the message is in the copy. The message is in the words,
Mm-hmm.
right? What story are you telling? Right? Because I'm pouring my wine because I'm about to go sit down because I've had a bad day. When they come on
Yeah.
Instagram, they getting all the motivation. They like, she is having an amazing life, but it's all in
Mm-hmm.
the story that you want to tell to your
Mm-hmm.
audience. So that was a
Yep,
good
another
question.
person just
That was
said
a
it too.
really
B-roll
good
is like
question.
basically different clips of whatever is going, whatever you might be talking about, but in a different lens. So it's basically not the
Mm-hmm.
main component of the video. So, for example, if I'm doing a video about how to burn out doing content creation and I'm filming it for my YouTube video, and it's like a sit down video, right? B-roll might be also me panning my
Mm-hmm.
computer screen setup, or me panning my planner, or me showing some of the behind the scenes of me setting up the space, right? So it's basically any component of film that is not the main component, if you kind of get my drift there. So that's pretty much like what B-roll is. So just getting small
Yeah.
clips of just different things that are going on. So if you are doing like a vlog and you're like shopping in the mall, you might get some B-roll of the different stores. You might get some B-roll of the people walking. You might get some B-roll of, you flipping through the racks, right? So it's not the main component of the content, but it's just like some little pieces, clips here or there to kind of help support it.
I saw somebody in the comments say that they feel like their house isn't aesthetically pleasing, right? Um, B-roll content for one, let's talk about transparency, right? Social media is not a perfect world and it shouldn't be a perfect world, but also B-roll content doesn't have to be filmed at your house either. If you, because some people, everybody's
Mm-hmm.
not comfortable showing their house, and that's cool, right? To be filmed at your house. One thing that I always do, if I do a content day, if I go and take pictures, I always get a video. Even if I'm walking. I remember one time I took a video, I'm
Mm-hmm.
walking from one wall to the other wall. I'm like, okay, when I cut it, it's gonna make sense. It looks stupid now, right? But anything that you can do, Sis said I'm taking notes, period. Anything that you can do behind the scenes can be considered B-roll. So it doesn't necessarily have to be at your house.
Yeah.
And you don't have to show your
I
house
would,
at all if you don't
just to piggyback
want to.
off of that, I would say it's two different things. I got two different views on it. Like, I understand, I'm not the type of person that shows like my entire home either. Like, you will get a lot more content in my office than like anything. But one thing I'll say
Mm-hmm.
is I feel like in 2024, we're gonna see more relatable content, right? So like the floor to ceiling windows, we're not gonna start seeing that a lot more. We're gonna see people real homes in
Yeah.
2024 because I think the thing is the pandemic has allowed us to think that everything has to be like this cookie cutter formula. You have to have the floor to ceiling windows with the aesthetically pleasing kitchen. Like, I seen this whole thing on TikTok the other day that says if you got like wood cabinets that like, what is that?
I
Like,
was
I
just
didn't
thinking
even, I'm like,
that them
okay,
brown
whatever. But,
cabinets. What are
like,
we
what are you talking about?
talking
But
about?
all in all, I would say, like,
What are we talking
use
about?
that as a way to get more relatable with your audience. Because 9 times out of 10, the people who are watching you, the people who are engaging with you, have a home that looks just like yours. Right? So you got to definitely think about it from that
Literally.
lens. The more relatable your content is and the more transparent you are within your content, the better. So I would say you can either use that as an advantage, or you can go through and kind of like what Ebony said, is film outside of your home. You don't have to film in your home at all.
So said the other day somebody commented about me having carpet in my house.
What? I
People,
got carpet in my house. I guess we all just
you know what?
what?
I'm not
That's
even gonna
crazy.
get into like
That's why.
people look for
Wow.
stuff to be mad at on social media. That's cool.
Right.
I ain't got no problem with no carpet. People don't let them people trick you
Talk
out
about
your
it.
carpet, sis. Do, do y'all think YouTube is still worth it, or should somebody do only Instagram or TikTok? I've seen a bunch of creators without a YouTube, but I also feel like YouTube isn't going anywhere. I can't comment on YouTube specifically because I'm not a YouTube girl yet. That's on
Yeah.
my 2024 vision board. So that might answer that first question. But I will say TikTok don't got their bag right. I literally the video I just posted before this, TikTok don't have their bag right. So I'm not gonna say people are not making money on TikTok because of course people are making money on TikTok, but TikTok bag
Mm-mm.
not giving YouTube bag. So take that into accountability before you say you're gonna
I
quit
can
on
talk about
YouTube.
YouTube
Cause
for days. If y'all don't know, if you maybe are just finding out who I am, I'm more of a YouTuber than any other platform. I have about 135,000 subscribers over there. Yes, girl, we've been growing that YouTube for
oh,
a long time. So I'm a YouTuber at heart. I
oh,
love long form
oh,
content. And actually, I've been doing a lot of research about 2024 predictions as relates to social media, and long form content is coming back. The reason why long form content is
yes,
coming back is because people aren't getting the answers that they need in such short form video. People want to be educated, you guys. They want to know step A through Z. They want to be able to figure
yep,
out how to do, even if it's not even about education as relates to business, it might be how to do a glam makeup routine. Like, people want to know like the start to finish, even fashion videos or whatever it is.
yeah,
They want to know the entire process, and not everyone is able to go through and grasp a lot of information in 30 seconds. So we are going to see a huge increase in
yeah,
long form content, and I'm excited about it. I've even seen my numbers go up just even this year alone completely, because I feel like a lot of more people are trying to, get that education that they want, and not such quick, things there as well. YouTube
yeah.
ain't going nowhere.
That's good. TikTok also just I think TikTok the short form platform. Now I think they just updated it to now you can
I
upload
think
up
it
to
might be,
five
I think
minutes.
I read
I'm
that it might
like,
be going up to like 15 soon or something like that. Like, it's like even TikTok is trying to get into the long form
yeah,
bag too. So definitely either platform aren't going anywhere. But if you're really trying to like get a bag off of social media, that YouTube bag is completely different than that TikTok bag. I am attested to
let me
it.
tell you something. TikTok is giving. I'm about to need to see the profit margins the way they acting over there. Like, what's the bottom line? Because y'all bag is not together.
Listen,
Where is the company
talk
standing? Because the
about it.
bag is not together on TikTok. I saw somebody a little earlier say any tips for promoting yourself shamelessly. And one thing that I have always said, and I've been saying for years, is don't be overly concerned about the comments
Mhm.
that you'll never hear, right?
That's good. Can you
Tackling negative
wait,
comments on
can you
social
say
media
that
is a
again?
whole
Because that
different
was
beast.
good.
Be worried about the comments that you are
Mm,
never going to
mm.
hear. I used to say don't worry about the comments that people gonna say at their own house, because you're not, it doesn't, we get so worried about stuff that doesn't affect us. Anybody on this live, and my hope, right, is that this is, I know it's valuable information because I'm listening
Yeah,
to it, right, but my hope is that you're at home agreeing. But let's say somebody is not, even if somebody got on here just to say I don't like them,
ever.
this is that negativity, whatever, we will never hear that. We cannot be so afraid of what people say at their own house on their own phone for the bill they pay, right? Worry about the stuff. Now,
Mhm.
again, tackling negative comments, that's a whole different conversation, right? But don't be afraid to put yourself out there, and don't let other people's opinion, because people who are working, you never hear people that are working have anything negative to say about somebody else working, because we all grinding and getting it
Mhm.
done together, right?
I would I would
What's your
definitely
take on
say, like,
that?
I kind of dealt with a situation like this, like maybe a couple of days ago. I got a comment, like probably the rudest comment I've ever gotten. You probably seen it on my story.
I saw
This lady
that.
commented
I
and told
did.
me that my video was helpful for her, but she didn't like or appreciate that I was using AAVE, which stands for African American Vernacular English. Basically, she said I was talking in slang
I
and
saw
I was talking too black for
that.
her. One thing that it did not get under my skin, it made me a little bit upset, but it didn't get under my skin enough for it to like really
Hmm.
cause an effect to me. But one thing I'll definitely say is you know that you are doing something great once you start getting negative comments. Like, it was a long
Oh, come
time that I was
on. Oh,
creating content and people were loving me. People still love me.
yeah.
But now every now and then you're going to get a negative comment. And one thing that I've always gone through and just told myself is I can't allow one negative comment to outweigh the hundreds of positivity. You're not going to get thousands of negative comments, you guys.
That's
Like, that's
good.
something that you just have to go through and realize you're not. You're going to get more love than hate, but you got to make sure that you allow the love to outweigh the hate, because it's going to happen. It's just inevitable if you really think about it.
So good. Also, everybody is not
Mm-hmm.
going to be in your community. And a lot of times, especially when you start to get bigger and blow up, or you have something goes viral, that content goes out of your community and the people who are in your audience
Mm-hmm.
to people who have nothing to do with what you're talking about. Right. People who are never
Yep.
going to support you. And that's okay. Everybody doesn't have to like you. Everybody doesn't have to support you. Right. But also be very aware that those comments are not from your community. You post for your community and your audience and what you're building, not for
Right,
the
right.
entire world.
Definitely. I think that's like a thing that everybody has to realize too is, like you just said, like you are literally creating content for a particular demographic of people. And that even goes to like the entire spiel of like your friends and your family not supporting you too, because that's a whole nother topic of conversation that I hear all the time is, well, my friends and my family don't support me. Your friends and your family is not your target audience. Just like the people who
Yes.
are pouring negativity into you is not your audience either. So it's just something that you just got to realize as time progresses that you're going to get those negative comments. It's just all about how you respond to them for sure.
Okay, for my creators, what is, if there's one tip, number one tip that you can give to a content creator, an aspiring content creator, on what they can do to avoid burnout? What would that tip be? No pressure. I know I
Mm,
said one. That was kind of
if
heavy,
you
but
really want to avoid burnout and all the things, first things first is I would really go through and, like I said earlier, is put together an entire plan. And I'm not talking about a plan as it relates to just writing down what content you're going to create. I mean, like literally putting an entire plan together. So
Mhm.
I'll give you guys just a demonstration rather of an outline rather of how I create my content. So
Oh,
I
that's good.
literally write every single thing down and I'm able to get out. There's days where I'm able to film like 6 reels. Like tomorrow, I'm going to make sure I get 6 reels out in one day. And the reason why I'm able to do that is because I literally plan everything to the T. So I go through and I write down where I'm filming
That's
it, what
good.
I'm filming it, what is the message that I'm trying to get across, what is my call to action going to be. I even write down what trending audio it is that I'm using. I'll get all of my props and put all of my props outlined on my couch or outlined, in the floor in the living room or anything like that. Like literally putting things together as they need to be put together. So that way you're not trying to scroll through your phone to find something to post. Like you literally know exactly what it is that you're trying to post. I'll even
Yeah, that's
practice my
good.
lines. So if I'm trying to film, a trending audio and I gotta memorize, the verbiage so that way my sync in my voice can match up with the sync of the audio. I'll practice that until I get it down to a T. So that way when I'm filming the content, I'm filming stuff in 1 or 2 takes. I'm not sitting there filming one video for 5 hours because y'all let us know inside of the comments.
Yeah,
Y'all
that's
be filming one
crazy.
reel for 3 hours. It don't take all of that. If you plan, it's not gonna take all of that.
Crazy.
So I'll even plan out my outfit. My outfit is sitting right there on the floor. My props are sitting right there on the floor. I wrote down where in my house I'm filming the content. I'll go through and I'll do all of my settings on my cameras. Like I'm literally doing this stuff in advance. So that way I don't have to go through and film one video for 5 hours. Like I don't have that time. So that's the biggest thing for me
Yeah,
is you literally have to plan. Like if you want to avoid burnout and you want to get a lot more content done in a shorter amount of time, you have to go through and plan it. There's like literally no work
that's
around it.
good. That's good. I think my tip would be to create as you go. And I know that's very vague, but what I mean is I always have a backlog of content for the
Mm-hmm.
days that I don't have anything to talk about, anything to do. If something comes to my head, I put it in my, I don't know why I
Okay.
stuck to Twitter, but I put it in my Twitter drafts. And if it's a day where I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to post, I take that Twitter draft, upload it, or I make a dump out of all those random
Yeah.
thoughts and make it make sense for my audience, right? Create as you go. If you scrolling and you find a trending sound, go ahead and save that sound. Go ahead and get all of this stuff together because what's going to happen is just like you said, we spending 5-6 hours creating a video because we woke up that morning with no plan, no strategy, nothing in our backlog, and we got to find a trending sound. We got to figure out the outfit for it. Then we got to do our hair and makeup because we think it has to be picture perfect. Then we have to go drive around
Mm-hmm.
the city trying to find a location. When in reality, all of that could have been taken care of by you planning and you having stuff in your backlog
Yep.
for
I do.
as you
I
go
literally do the
along.
same exact thing, but I put mine inside of my notes app on my phone. So I'm literally doing the exact same thing you're doing. Yeah, I
I
put
mean,
mine in
that
my
makes
notes
more
app on my
sense.
phone. I'll literally go on Instagram while I'm scrolling. I'm either saving stuff, and I'm gonna really let y'all in on one of my secrets that I do too. So on your Instagram,
Don't have me
on
locked
your
in.
Instagram, you can save things in different categories, you guys. Everything don't have to be in one saved folder. So what I'll do
Yes.
sometimes is I'll have content where it says inspiration. So anything that I feel like I want to save and put in my inspiration folder, if I want to inspire my audience, I'll put it in that folder. If it's something where I feel like it's really trendy or something that, is timely, I'll put it inside of that folder. If it's something where I just really solely want to entertain my audience, I'll put it into that folder. I even do it for my campaigns. So if there's any campaigns that I have coming up and I'm like, oh, this will be dope for this campaign, I'll make an entire folder and save it under that one too. So that way everything's like so nice and organized and you're not scrolling through your save because y'all know if you scrolling through your save folder, it's going to take you a while to find some of that stuff. So that's the strategy that I do.
So much
I do that on both
in there.
Instagram and I do that on TikTok too. You can do save folders on TikTok as well. So that's gonna be one easy other strategy if you're like trying to figure out how to organize some content that you're inspired by too.
For my business owners who are getting burnt out on
Mm-hmm.
content creation, they get burnt out because social
Yeah.
media starts to feel like a full-time job, right? I think for my business owners, I think a lot of them get burnt out because you're trying to create the content, edit the content, run the business, do the financial, ship the packages.
Yeah.
We're trying to do it all, and it's given. I don't know. So what is your tip? What tips, if any, do you have for my business owners who are getting
So
burnt
I
out on
was
social media?
actually where was I? I was speaking at Stormy's event last weekend. And one of the ladies, she raised her hand
Mm-hmm.
and she was like, I really want to run my business, but I don't want to do social media. Like I just don't want to do it. So this is what I believe in, you guys. I'm the type of person I'm not gonna sugarcoat nothing for you. This is literally what it's going to be. You either have time or you have money. That's all. You
Oh,
either have time or
girl,
listen,
are
you
we
either got time or you got money.
cousins?
That's it. You either have time on your hands in order to create the content yourself or
Mm.
to be the face of the brand or to create and distribute the content and all the things, or you got money and you can hire somebody to do it for you. So that's it. It is very difficult,
Period.
y'all, in today's day and age to grow a brand without social media. Can it be done? Absolutely. Can you create a faceless
Yes.
brand? Absolutely. Will you get the same results from a brand that has a face? You won't, right? People in today's day and age, they want to know who they spending their money with. People are tired of getting scammed. They're tired of getting scammed.
Yes.
They're tired of going through and spending money with people that they don't support. They want to know who they're spending their money with. So you either got time or you got money. You can delegate, like somebody just said in the comments, or you're going to have to just learn and do it yourself. And that's why Ebony is creating this platform. That's why I have my platform. So that way you guys are able to actually invest your dollars into somebody who's actually going to teach you how to do these things step for step. Because I know y'all tired of going on TikTok, looking at stuff real quick, trying to learn something, or the algorithm is changing. That's how I feel. You either got time or you got money. That's just what it is.
I love a quick plug. I offer social media management for the
Period.
people who ain't got the
Listen,
time, but you got the
listen.
money.
You,
Call me.
yeah.
No, I think that's a good point. I think that's such a good point. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
people are scared to delegate, but you can't give 100% to everything. You can't give 100% to the back
Yeah.
end and the front end and the social media, right? People get so afraid to delegate, and that's where a lot of that burnout comes from. We trying to do it all. I think I made a post a while ago, like, you try to be Miss Independent. I'm trying
Listen.
to have somebody I can call and say, sis, what I
Yeah.
need to do, what's next, because
Yeah.
I can't be Superwoman, right? I can't do it all. I think for my business owners too, if we want to talk about avoiding burnout, we have to have a plan, not just for how we're going to sell, but how we're going to want to nurture the audience, right? Because a lot of us, we get burnt out because we're posting sales content, sales content, sales content, and then we feel like we're giving it our all and we're not getting engagement, but we're not giving anybody anything to engage with, right? Engaging content
Mm-hmm.
and sales content is completely different content. Um, so said, what would you say we should look out for when managing social media? I've invested and the work wasn't there. Ooh, if you mean looking for a social media manager, I'm really big on credentials and receipts. Um, find people who have reviews and find people. Okay, this is gonna be a little controversial, and Troy, feel free to agree, but I'm really big on. You can tell a lot about people by the way they teach or coach, right? For example, I do a lot of lives where I can talk and actually answer questions, right, as they come. It's not like a let me sit back and research. I do a lot of where I've done it. I haven't done one. Did I do a webinar last year? That's irrelevant. I do a lot of webinars where I'm able to sit down and coach one-on-one because I'm very intentional about people knowing that this information is coming from me. I'm not
Yeah.
going to find it on Chat GPT. I'm not going to look it up online. I'm able to answer your questions because I have the
Mm-hmm.
education and the experience to back it up. And I know that everybody doesn't go live, which is cool. But again, when you're really looking for people, look for people who can speak confidently and educated about the audience that you're
Mm-hmm.
looking to
I
outsource them for.
100% agree. I feel like if you are looking for someone to hire as like maybe that role, I definitely would do consultations. Like you need to set up consultations with people so that way you're able to meet them. You're able
Yes,
to see if
for
you
sure.
guys are like equally yoked. I always think about like partnerships and growing your team is like literally a relationship, right? Like I need to make sure that we are on one accord
Yes.
and we understand exactly what's going on. I've had team members in the past that I'm like, this actually is not a good fit. I don't know why I should have not had you on my team, right? And I think it's just more so of a thing of just really
Yep.
making sure that y'all are on a line. Because to be completely honest, nobody's going to treat your business like you, right? It's literally like a baby. It's like
Right.
trusting your baby with a new babysitter. That's exactly what it's like when you're trying to grow. So you got to make sure
Yes.
that she said, "Oh, honey, I've had consultations. I don't something about my money and my time." So I think she said, "I don't play about my money and my time." So yeah, I think it's just more so of a thing of like Ebony said, getting those receipts. Do they have reviews? Another thing too is making sure you're hiring people who work in the industry that you're trying to work in. So I wouldn't hire a portrait photographer or a wedding
That's
photographer to take
good.
pictures for my beauty line. It doesn't make sense. So you
That's
got to make sure that that's another,
that's good.
yeah.
That's a real
Hire the people
underrated
who
tip.
are specialized in your industry. That could be another reason that you might not be seeing results as well.
That's so good. I saw somebody say, first of all, Is this
Right.
good
Give
information?
us some
Somebody let me
energy in the
know.
chat because y'all look quiet.
Um, I know what is going on. Last week, y'all was ready to jump through the screen. Where are my OGs with the energy at? Drop some fire if this is good information. If this is helpful, let us know it's helpful. And if it's not, tell me to step my game up. I don't have no problem with that. Y'all know I like to keep it real humble. Make sure people get the information they need. Um, Somebody said, what if you're not in a place to hire? How would you advise building your social media on your own? Social media is, she said, we listen. I'm just making sure y'all still there, my girl. Um, Social media is very trial and error, right? And I think a lot of times we get stuck in the trial and error
Yeah.
and we don't come out of it. We do what we try something that we think is gonna work and it doesn't work the way we want it to. And then instead of saying, let me try something else, we like, the algorithm hates me and this content isn't working and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. When in reality, we might need
Yeah.
to make a little pivot.
Yeah.
We might need to
Yeah.
switch the
I
strategy up.
always say it's so funny. I think the whole I always hear people say this all the time. Like, yeah, I'm shadow banned. No, you're not shadow banned. You're just not creating enough content. That's just what it is. If y'all really sit and think about it, these social media outlets are businesses. They are businesses first. Instagram is a business.
Hello.
Instagram is not here to connect you with your friends and your family. They exist to make a dollar. So since they are trying to make a dollar, they are going to reward the people who are creating content consistently. I was just listening to a podcast earlier today and I
Yep.
was like, literally light bulbs went off in my head. If y'all really sit and think about it, Instagram, like I said, is a business and they're making money from advertisers, which is why you see
Yep.
ads running on your social media platform all day. In between content is where the ads are going to be placed. So since they're placing their ads in between you and I's content, they are going to reward the people who are showing up consistently. If you are not showing up consistently, you are not helping Instagram make money. They are making money by content being
Ooh,
produced. So you
hello.
have to be consistent. You're not shadow banned. You're just not creating enough content. So they're not pushing your audience. They're not pushing your content to your audience. Nobody's going to reward somebody who's inconsistent. Think about it, right? Like you're not rewarding nobody who's
And even
inconsistent
if
in your
you
life.
are
So why should Instagram reward you for you
facts,
being inconsistent?
even if you are putting out a lot of content too, I think the other piece of that is you need to
Mm-hmm.
know what your audience responds to, right? Because you could be
Yep, that's
putting out a
another
whole
thing.
bunch of content and it didn't get engagement or likes the first time, the second
Mm-hmm.
time, or the third time, but you're repeating the cycle. Every time you're repeating that cycle and people scroll past that content, they're telling Instagram, we don't like this, we don't want to see this. And now your content is not being shown to anybody, right? The algorithm and that
Mm-hmm.
engagement go hand in hand. If you can really figure out what it is your audience likes and wants to see and recreate that and get that engagement and get those likes and get those comments, every time it comes up, every time you post, excuse me, it's going to come up on people's feed because they're telling Instagram, hey, we like to see this
Mm-hmm.
content, put this on my feed, right? You have to know what it is your
Yeah.
audience. And again, that goes back to that trial and error. I'll be real. I got caught up in the it wasn't a hack. It was the real hype. Everybody's like, these are real. I'm like, what's going
Mm-hmm.
on with these reels that I'm missing? So I'm like, I'm gonna do 30 days. I'm gonna post. I'm gonna focus only on reels so I can flex that muscle and get good at it and figure out what kind of reels my audience likes. Them 30 days, my engagement was down
Mm-hmm.
under. I said, oh, this don't work for me. This isn't working for me, right? But I kept posting it to figure out what I liked. And then when I was able to create the content that I already knew my audience liked, that I should have never, and I wouldn't recommend anybody trading one strategy for another or work it in because I shouldn't have stopped what I already knew was working to try something new, right? But when I went back to what I knew was working, it
Mm-hmm.
popped instantly and my engagement was back up because you have to know what it is
Mm-hmm.
your audience likes and what their
Mm-hmm.
response to. And it won't be everything. It won't be
Yeah. I
everything.
always say, like, try a variety of different forms of content in order for you to see what your audience likes in the first place. Because if you're consistently posting the
Yes.
same exact type of content, you will never know what your audience likes. And the way to determine what they like is your
Nope.
data and your analytics is going to tell you that. They're literally going to tell you in your
Yes.
likes, in your views, in your follows, in your saves, in your shares, that'll tell you what they like. They're not going to verbally tell you unless you do ask them sometimes, or if you have a generous audience who, will be open to showing you. They're going to show you through the engagement. The engagement is what's going to tell you. So the only way to really know, like somebody asked in the comments, like, how do I know what content to create for my audience? Really just create a variety and make sure that it's educational, entertaining, and inspiring. And make sure that it, of course, is relatable to your audience.
Yes.
That is how you'll know what content you should go through and create.
Create what feels authentic to you and your brand, right? A lot of times I think, especially for my business owner specifically, we post in a way that's almost performative sometimes, right? I don't get on my business page. Y'all know I don't get on. That's why I was laughing at that comment you got, because I have never got on here speaking complete
Girl.
sentences in proper English. Like, because then I would be so focused on being prim, proper, and
Right.
perfect that I'm forgetting what I'm even talking about, right? I create what's authentic to you, because as soon as it's not, that's where that burnout and inconsistency comes from. Because you're not gonna feel like showing up every day,
Yeah.
showing up perfect and sitting up straight with your proper sentences. Um, we're not gonna feel like doing that every day. Create what feels authentic to you and your audience, and attract an audience that is there for you, not the you
Mm-hmm.
that you thought that they were gonna be coming for. Because whatever you start with on social media, you can do a little pivot, but whatever
Right.
you in it.
Somebody asked,
You are
how do you know which
in it.
one to post each day, such as education or inspiration? I feel like it's just up to you and your audience. So, for example, I used to have more of a like solidified content strategy. Now I'm still working on what my strategy would be for 2024. But I used to make sure like I know my audience, right? So I know that I'm marketing personally to entrepreneurs and content creators. So I know, okay, Sundays are going to be a really great day for inspiration. So that might be the day that I post my inspirational content to make sure they're going into the week inspired,
Yes.
right? Usually hump day, Wednesdays, that might be another day that I might do some inspirational content to get you through the week, right? So Mondays, I know everybody's like on their P's and on their Q's. Everybody trying to make the best week, that week the best week, right? So I might post something educational on that week. So it really just depends on your audience. You need to know your audience. One strategy that I like to do with my clients is we'll literally write our target audience's schedule from the time they open their eyes to the time they close their eyes. What are they doing every single hour on the hour? So if I know that she eating lunch at 12 o'clock, okay, I might post a piece of content at 12 o'clock. If I know that she's taking the kids to school at
Yep.
maybe 7 or 8 o'clock, it makes no sense for me to send out an email at 7 or 8 o'clock because she's not looking at her phone. She's taking the kids to school at that time. So it really depends on your
That's
audience and knowing
so
what
good.
she's doing or what he's doing on a daily basis, every hour on the hour, and literally frame your content. Your marketing strategy should be in line to that person's schedule.
So good. And also don't
Yeah.
overthink it. A lot of this is just common human behavior, right? I have an
Mm-hmm.
audience of people who work a 9 to 5. There's nothing for me to post about at 2 p.m. when
Nope.
they just came off lunch and they're just trying to get through the day. 5:36 when they wind it down, they done cook their
Exactly.
dinner. Cool, we got something, right? I can sit. That's when I'll send out my email. Don't overthink it. Think about what people are actually doing. It's not some secret sauce to success, right? What are people doing in everyday real life? Because your clients and your audience
Literally
are real
real
people.
people, real regular people who are literally trying to make it through
Yep,
life 9 times out of 10, right? So
literally.
yeah, just like Ebony said, do not overcomplicate it. It's literally think about your own schedule
Mm-mm.
even, and that'll also give you some clear indication as to when you should post some things too. Because somebody just asked like, what are the best times to post? What is your audience doing? What time
Yeah.
what time are they looking at their phone the most? That is when you should go through and share.
Yes. Do you post your videos around the same time every day? Honestly, I believe in
Mm-hmm.
testing to see what works. So if you're just starting out and just getting consistent, I wouldn't say I'm gonna post at 1 o'clock and every day I post at 1 o'clock, because I don't know what 4 o'clock does. I don't know what 8 a.m. does because I haven't tested anything. Test it and
Mm-hmm.
see where you get
I
your
agree. I
response to.
agree. Knowing your audience will also tell you what time to post to. How do you know your audience? It depends on your industry. So, what industry are you in? Who are you trying to reach? The best way that I just had a coaching call with the client too. Was having a hard time identifying her target audience. I told her if you could have one person shop with you every day for the rest of your life, who would that person be? That is who your target audience is. Your target audience isn't the people who are currently shopping with you. Your target audience literally says it in the description, target. Who are you trying to target? That should be your target audience should be consumed of. If
Yes.
you could have one person shop with you or book calls with you or whatever it is that you do every single day, one type of person, who would that be? And that's the person that you're trying to target. And just quick words.
Listen, I started laughing because that's
Yeah.
exactly how my coaching calls go.
Who do
Not
you
who's
want?
coming to
It's
you.
not
Who do
about who
you
coming to
want to
you.
work with? Let's
It's
create
not
some
about who
stuff
coming.
around that. Not who found you
Who do you want?
randomly. Who do you want to work
Yes.
with?
Yep.
That's so good. Somebody said, "How do you get out of the fear of posting?" Showing
Mm-hmm.
up to me is all mental. I can't tell you do this and all of a sudden you'll have the magic secret to success and you'll be
All
ready to
mental.
post. Right? It's all mental. Again, post without worry or fear of what everybody else is going to say. A lot of it comes from, well, what are people going to think? What are people going to say? Block out all of that. I said I was finna get in my
Mm-hmm.
YouTube bag. I actually recorded a video today and I was talking about how you have to really and truly ask yourself how bad you want it, right? Because we want it
Mm-hmm.
bad until we have to show up and let somebody see we posted this reel and it got 2 likes. And now we like, I
Mm-hmm.
don't know how bad I really want it, right? Ask yourself, how bad do you really want it? Do you want it bad enough to where you can post
Yeah.
and show up and the content may not do well? And do you keep going past that, right? Because if you want it that bad, you can care. I posted that TikTok and then got on this
Mm-hmm.
live. I don't care what it does because I'm going to go on there and check the analytics.
Yeah.
If it worked, it worked. If it didn't, I pivot, right? But how bad? Ask yourself how bad you really want it, because a lot
Mm-hmm.
of it is
Ooh, I could
mental
talk about
blocks.
this all day, girl. I would say if you have a fear of posting, I used to deal with this. Now I really just don't care anymore. The reason that what you really got to think about is I talked about this in a YouTube video a while back is literally it's just because you're afraid to be seen trying, right? And you don't want to be seen trying. You don't want to be seen trying and failing. One thing that you really got to make sure that you're doing if you are like fearful of posting on social media is you really got to partner with that fear and you cannot let that fear overcome whatever it is that you're trying to go through and do, right? So another thing I would suggest too. Dang, I just lost my train of thought. What was I about to say? I was
The fear of being
yes,
seen trying and the fear
yes,
of
the
being
fear of
seen
being seen
failing.
failing. So one thing I would definitely say to you, if you are having a hard time just posting on social media, is you literally cannot allow that to affect whatever it is that you're trying to go through and do. The reason why is, are you gonna let you posting on social media be the thing that determines whether or not you're successful or not, or whether or not you and your family eat or not, or whether or not you actually go through and reach your
Ooh,
goals or not? No, right? So one thing I also will say, and one thing that gave me some really good just like motivation recently was the Beyonce movie. So I went to go see it, and
yes.
it was like the part with Blue Ivy. She was like she seen some backlash that she got on social media about her dancing. Literally take that fear, take those comments, take that uncertainty, that confidence that you may not be having, and literally use that as motivation in order for you to get better. If you go to any video, any of my videos, Ebony's videos, whoever's your favorite creator, whoever's your favorite celebrity, go to their first video. I promise you it's trash. Like it's
Oh, you can do
trash,
some
right? Like my first
scrolling in my
video was
comments.
trash, right? Jackie Aina, who has millions of followers at this point, I'm pretty sure her first video was trash, right? Like literally, you have to start from somewhere. You're going
Yes.
to be afraid. If you weren't afraid, I would tell you that you weren't okay, right? Like we are fearful people. That's just
Yes.
one thing that we're just naturally born with. So you really got to partner with that fear and use it as motivation to keep you going, because you're gonna allow the fact that you're scared to be the thing that hinders you from you and your family eating and eating good. Me, no.
Yes.
Literally, real
We
money.
talking real money. I don't care who see the content. We talking real
Literally.
money. Somebody said, "Do you ever have days? Do you ever have down days when you don't want to do anything? If so, do you still push
Mm.
forward or let your body rest?" Honestly, if I'm being completely honest, it depends on the day, right? And I say that because there is days where I'm
Mm-hmm.
down and burnt out and I need to rest. And there's days when I'm
Yeah,
down and burnt out and
yeah,
I need to
yeah,
get up and stop playing. Right. I did a lot of playing today, if I'm being honest. I was so tired. And I'm like, I'm
yeah.
playing. I need to get up. Right. I also don't believe in pushing yourself past your limit, though. That's why I say sometimes I do have to rest. My goal and your goal should be longevity, right? And in order for you to have longevity,
Yeah.
you need to be able to do it for a long time. If you are gonna push yourself, what I don't want to happen is me say, "Oh, I get up and I jump and I'm on here capping
Mhm.
like life is perfect," when we know that's not the case, right? And then you get burnt out and burnt down,
Yeah.
and you keep going and keep
Yeah.
going, that you overdo it, and
Mhm.
then you have to take a break. Because
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
overdone it and had to take a break and go for a month, then have to come back with my tail tucked between my legs, trying to hope my audience still
Right.
still like me, right?
Yeah.
So don't push yourself too far, but know your
Yeah.
limits, but don't be
Yeah,
afraid to keep going
I
sometimes either
100%
though.
agree. There are gonna be plenty of days. Like earlier today, I literally had to go get me a coffee because I'm literally like falling asleep at my desk. I'm like, oh my gosh, my energy is so low. Like I got stuff I got to get done. So I think it's more so of you. You know yourself better than anyone. So if it's a time where you
Yes.
just feel like I just really need a second, literally do what I like to call, which is like my buffer time. My buffer time is what I just use in between different tasks sometimes. And I'll just use that as an opportunity to like make a quick phone call, lay across the bed if I need to, turn on a YouTube video, something non-educational. Like there's times where I'm on YouTube and I'm
Oh,
always just listening to a podcast or
yes.
watching somebody on live talk about business. Like I'm always consuming myself with so much knowledge. There's times where I'm scrolling through my TV or scrolling through my YouTube and I'm like, I just need something non-educational. I need to find a girl who is
Simple.
out shopping at Target that I can just watch her vlog and just decompress, different things
Yes.
like that. But sometimes when you're burnt out, sometimes you really got to keep going through the burnout, to be completely honest. But then there's times where you just listen to your body too at the same
Yeah.
time and know when it's time to relax. It's just all about knowing yourself, to be honest. It was good. We
Troy,
gotta do this
this was
again.
so good. We gotta do this again. I live for a collab.
Yes.
This was so good. You guys so much for joining. Troy,
It was
thank you for
good. We
joining.
gotta
This
do
was
another
good. We'll
one.
definitely have to do another live. I'm here for the vibes. Yes. Thank you guys.
Now I ain't messing with no broke. Now I ain't messing with no broke.